Hello and welcome to Louise Singleton Creations. In today's video, I'm going to be continuing my exploration into using cardstock strips to create borders within resin artwork. This time I'm going to be creating a picture with backlighting, which is all made in a simple picture frame directly onto the glass. So if you think that sounds like lots of fun, stay tuned and enjoy the video. I'm going to be applying my resin artwork directly onto the glass of this simple picture frame. So I've removed the board from the back, and the first thing I need to do is seal around the edges of the glass with some hot melt glue with my glue gun. And I'm doing that so that the resin doesn't leak through to the back of the picture frame when I add it later on. To create the borders for my pattern, I'm using 300 GSM cardstock. It's matte black cardstock, and I'm cutting it into strips of 4mm width because that's the depth of the aperture in my picture frame. I used the line guide on my Tim Holtz ruler, and that way I didn't have to do any measuring. I just used that same guide all the time, and I just kept on cutting until I just got fed up of cutting. Once I'd cut all the strips, to make them easier to shape, I just kind of ran them between my fingers, as you can see there, and it just stops them when you're trying to put them into the shape you want them to be in. It stops them getting any angular bends in there. It just keeps it more flexible. So that's why I do that. But I wouldn't recommend doing it the way I did it, because it's just a paper cut waiting to happen. I would probably use a pencil or something and just run it against the edge of the pencil. Anyway, I've made kind of an S shape here, and I'm just adding a little bit of PVA glue to attach it to the frame. Now, this first piece was the trickiest because it was hard to get it to stay in position. But once you've got the first couple of pieces in, it becomes really easy. And so what I did was I just made it all up as I went along. I didn't have any particular design in mind. I just added bits and thought what would look good with that, and I just kept adding to it and seeing what would look good. And so I'm just going to fast forward through it because, you don't need me to talk you through it. It's very straightforward and self-explanatory. One thing I will add is that I didn't glue those pieces to the glass. Each time I added a piece, I was just gluing it to another piece of cardstock. So yeah, you don't need to try gluing it to the glass because you'll see what I'm doing about that in the next step. The epoxy resin I'm using today, it was sent to me by JDiction, and it's got 3 times the UV protection of its regular epoxy resin. And so the idea for this video actually was to make some artwork to put in a window, but I did change my mind, and as you know from the title of the video, it's not window art, but that was my original plan for this picture. Anyway, look at all the things that come in the kit, and you even get that mold I've just shown you as a free gift. Every kit comes with a free gift in the box. So you get the gloves, the silicone mat, the stirring sticks, that spreader thing, I can't think what they're called, and 2 big mixing cups, the silicone mixing cups, which were my favourite part of it because I think they're fantastic, those bigger ones. So it comes with all of those, and it had everything I needed. The mixing ratio for this resin is 1:1 by volume, and I'd already put part A in, but as usual, I did my usual trick of forgetting to press record. But yeah, I made a mark on the side of my cup because I find those cups really hard to see the numbers and the marks. So I decide how much I want, and I just use my black marker pen to make it easier to see what I'm doing. Okay, so before I add any colour to the picture, I needed to seal the borders into place so that the colour didn't leak between the different sections. It couldn't get underneath. So all I'm doing is adding a layer of clear resin, very thin layer, it doesn't have to be thick, just enough to cover the surface area of the glass. And I'm using an old brush to just brush it all into place and make sure that it's all covered and all those black cardstock borders have got something to stick to and for them to be blocked on the underneath to keep each section isolated. As this video was sponsored by JDiction, I decided to use my JDiction Pigment Set for my colours for this project. And as you can see, it's a really good kit because it comes with all of those mica powders, plus the liquid transparent pigments, and some gloves, and a fabulous brass scooping spoon, which I really love. So that first layer of resin had the night time to cure, and it was the next day. So I used the big cup this time and mixed up more resin. This time I did 200 millilitres of resin. I used the stirring spatula which came with the kit to give it a really good mix, and I've sped it up so that you don't get bored, but I did do it slowly for 2 minutes. Next, I transferred some of the resin into 2 smaller silicone cups, and I added some red pigment to one of them and some orange to the other. When I'd finished creating my pattern, I noticed that it looked quite floral. It looked like there were flower shapes. It looked really organic, and so I decided to do orange and green as my colour theme. I wanted to keep it simple for this first attempt. If I do it again, I'll probably try doing lots and lots of different colours, but yeah, I went for the orange and the green. I'm using a plastic syringe to apply my colour, and it was really good, that syringe. It works really well. I will leave a link in the description. I've got a set of them, and so yeah, I've got loads, because obviously you can clean them, you can put alcohol in them and clean them, but they never really work very well again if you try using them a second time. So it is a little bit wasteful, but they work so well for applying, you know, really kind of detailed pieces of resin, areas of resin. So I'm putting some in 2 syringes, and then it will be ready to apply. If you saw my last video where I was doing this technique, I had a bigger syringe and it was really quite clumsy using it. It was quite awkward, but these smaller ones, they're so much better. I'm so happy with these ones. So then I was ready for the fun part, and it's just a case of adding your resin, just like you're colouring it in. It's like a resin colouring book, and it's so much fun. What I did was I did half with one colour and half with the other colour in each section, and then they merged together and created lovely effects. But, you know, you could do it how you want. You could just do one colour in each piece. It's your choice. And again, I will be speeding this up because it did take me a little while. And I did the same. I'm not going to show you the mixing of the pigments again, but what I did for the rest of it was I did a mixture of different greens and added some blue to the green as well, so that I got, you know, a few different variations of colour, and it just wasn't one flat colour. I used the same 2 syringes as well for the green. I didn't open another 2 because that really would be wasteful. So yeah, you can just keep using the same syringes and it doesn't muddy the colour at all. It was absolutely fine. I didn't even clean them before adding the green to the syringes. But yeah, they were fine, no trouble at all. as I said earlier, my original idea was to make it into a piece that would stand at the window with the light shining through it. Because of that fabulous UV protection, I thought, I'd take advantage of that. But yeah, I changed my mind and decided to put the back of the picture back on and have some lights inside it. And to get a better reflection of the lights and to really make the lights work better, I just added some aluminium tape to the back of the back, the inside of the back piece. And that did help with the illumination. And then I got a string of the LED lights and just glued them around the edge of the inside of the frame. I could have done it differently. I could have had it just spread out all over the surface of the glass, but I thought it might be a little bit too, I can't think of a way to describe it, but I didn't want random spots of light shining through all over the place. I just wanted it round the edge to gently illuminate the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish I'd tried it the other way, but yeah, it looked nice in the end. Another thing I might try differently next time is to actually do all the decorating, all the resin work on the inside of the frame, the other side of the glass, because as you can see there, the reverse of my resin work looks really beautiful. I really love the way the back of it looks, and so I think I would quite like that to be the front. So all you need to do is add your borders and your resin to the inside of the frame instead. So that is an option. But the only thing with that is that you might struggle to get the back of the frame back on. I don't know. You can give it a go and let me know what happens. So once my lights were all glued in, it was just a case of putting the back of the frame back on and attaching the battery pack to the back of the frame. Oh yeah, and I cut the corner off as well so the wire could come out. And yeah, I used duct tape to attach the battery pack, which is kind of a little bit crude and unsophisticated. You might think of a better way of attaching the battery pack, but yeah, just because I wanted to get it finished, I just used some duct tape. I had planned on doing a final clear coat to have a smooth surface, but I quite liked being able to see the different textures in there. So I kept it without the clear coat, but if you want it to be smooth, you could add that. So I was really pleased with the way it turned out and the way those different colours merged into each other and created their own little patterns. And you can use your imagination and do any pattern you want. Just, you can go wild with this really. And here it is illuminated. It's always hard to photograph things like this that have been illuminated, but I think you can get the idea of how pretty it looks. So you could have it stood up on the side like I've got mine here next to the fire, or you could have it on the wall to create some lovely mood lighting at night, or even during the day. Obviously it still looks beautiful. I really hope I've inspired you to have a go yourself, and I am on Instagram, so if you want to find me on Instagram, you can tag me if you show what you've made, and I can come along and see what you've made, and that would be great. I really do love to see what I've inspired people to do. So that brings us to the end of the video. I'd like to say my thanks again to JDiction for sponsoring this video, and as always, all my links are in the description if you would like to go along, and don't forget there's my discount code for JDiction as well. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.